Welcome to Audio Drama Interviews, the only show without a pithy tagline from Audio Drama Reviews. Then again, it doesn't need one.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Audio Drama Interviews. Today we have Vincent Comegys-Davis with us to talk about his show, Out of the Ashes. So, to start out with, tell us a little bit about the show and how it got started.
I started writing it about 20 years ago, actually. In high school, I was going to write it for a contest for a scholarship to get into college. And I saw the scholarship and it was asking for you to write a fiction story. And I came up with the idea from it actually from a dream. I always kept a notebook next to my bed, and every time I had a dream, I would write something down in there. And then I had this dream one day about this world where all of the things that we have all considered to be myths or monsters that everybody considers to like not actually have existed or anything like that, to actually have been real, but because of something that we did to the earth, they just came back out from the shadows. So when I had the dream, I started writing it down in a notebook. And then when I saw the scholarship contest, I just went on with it and wrote it as a short story at first. And then I was in this whole film phase, and then I tried to write it into a script. And then I kind of just forgot about the notebook. 20 years later, my mom comes to me and says she found this whole box with all of my stuff in there. And she hands it to me, and I see the notebook in there, and it just like all of the images just came back to me. And at this point in my life, I started listening to other audio dramas like We're Alive and the Black Tapes. And I was so entranced by those stories that I was like, you know what? I think I can make this into an audio drama as well. So I decided to just go for it.
Awesome. Speaking of We're Alive, how'd you get working with Claire Doden? How that come to be, I guess?
She found out about it because I was talking about it in a group on Facebook, and she hit me up and said that she would just love to be a part of the show. I guess she just enjoyed what it was that I was saying the whole storyline was about, and she just emailed me and said that she would love to be a part of it, and she said she would love to be the character that she is now.
When are we going to see her again in the future for the series?
So she is going to actually be in episode 7. So you'll be able to see what's going on in that. But she's pretty much the only person in episode 7.
Speaking of episode format, you broke down the prologue into 4 different episodes. I'm wondering why you chose to do that in that kind of way, I guess.
Because everybody has their own stories right now. And I wanted to be able to tell each person's story as a separate thing, because they're all going to come together later at the end of the season, leading into the second season.
How far away do you have planned out for the series?
I have it actually planned out to season 4.
Can you expand upon that a little bit?
Yeah, I can expand a little bit. So, like I said, I have it up to season 4, and pretty much everybody comes together. And like I said, we've learned that there are a lot of the myths that were told to us are things that we have created into myths, like witches and magic and werewolves, vampires, dragons. And we find out that they're pretty much all actually real. And the reason why it hasn't been seen on like a widespread thing is because of this veil that gets dropped. And because of the Project Tempestus that happens in the prologue of episode 4, it causes something to happen to the world that just makes the whole environment shift. And so once that environment shifts, everything just comes out of the woodworks, and then we start seeing all of this. And later on, when Claire's character meets up with the group, we start finding out that all of this is stemming from this grand coven that some people that are in the group are actually a part of.
Tell us a bit about the release schedule of the show.
So for the first season, well, now that I have pretty much everything going on, it's going to be released weekly. So I'm going to release all of the episodes weekly during the month of October. And then on the 31st, we're going to have pretty much a live Q&A with a couple of people from the cast. We're going to go on actually simulcast and live cast from a lot of different sites that we have a page on. And we're going to talk about that. And then there's also going to be a special release, a special Halloween release on Halloween during the live cast, where Arena has her own episode, and we find out what she's been doing after everything went down.
And for those who don't know, Arena is played by who again?
Arena is played by Evie Sage.
Okay, cool. It sounds like you have your family is down with the student ever. Tell us about how you got them on board with the whole project.
They've always watched YouTube, and they've always wanted to be a part of like doing different things as far as YouTube goes. And they've always heard me on doing a bunch of audio stuff because I actually have another show with my wife where we talk about pretty much everything that goes on in the show. So we talk about the paranormal, psycho powers and stuff like that. And the possibility of everything being real and how you can use your mind to manifest certain things. And so they hear that sometimes, and then they actually asked me if they could talk on the mic and actually do some of the parts. So it just so happened that I needed a kid's voice in the first episode. And then I needed some help to get some of the machine voices together. And then I just got them to do like some background voices so that way we could put those in there. And they also helped me with doing some of the sound effects. I tried to be as organic with the sound effects as possible. So I just made them myself, and they would help me with those.
Awesome. Speaking of sound effects, the opening scene of the Prophecy episode of the prologue is almost pretty reminiscent of a film's opening credits. Was that intentional, and what was the hardest part in getting that to sound so good?
That was difficult. So I guess to answer that, so whenever I come up with something or whenever I'm trying to create the scene, I'll listen to it and then I'll try to figure out how it is I want to feel. And so when I created that scene, I was trying to figure that out, and it took me about 2 weeks to actually put that whole thing together, like that whole scene, because the song was, I kept trying to tweak the song a little bit because also I play around with being like a DJ. So I'll mix a lot of different sounds together to try to get the sounds that I'm looking for. So when I did that, I was really just trying to look for the carnival sounds that I could get. So one day we actually went to Dutch Wonderland. And I just so happened to have some stuff on me that I could record. And I just stood underneath the roller coaster and just recorded and heard screams. And then I just looped that when I got back home and extended it. And then I put the sounds together on my computer as far as like the carnival music and hooked that all up. And like I said, just looped and extended a bunch of stuff. And then I got to that.
You may have mentioned this before in your opening question, I guess. But what was the biggest obstacle you overcame after you got the notebook back from your mom?
Oh, the biggest obstacle, actually. So the biggest obstacle was COVID-19.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I actually, when I got it back from her, it was the end of summer in 2019. And so I was ready to just hit the ground and start running. And so I did start doing like the casting in my local area. I did get a few people that were interested. And then it came out that COVID-19 and then everything pretty much shut down as we were about to begin recording. Once that happened, everybody that I did want in there, they didn't have a remote. They didn't have their own like studio. They didn't have the mics and all that set up. So what I did was I went online and I just started talking to a bunch of people in like Facebook groups and other chat groups and all that. And a lot of people expressed interest after that point. And that's when I got the idea to just see if I could do a casting online, and it went well. A lot of people were very interested in it. Like I said earlier, Claire was one of those people. She was very interested, and they all contacted me. And, I was actually surprised myself because there was over like 150 emails with people wanting to be a part of it. And so I got it all down and got everybody into it. And so once I got them the scripts, it took a little while to get everybody on the same page. But like I said, they were very excited. And Evie actually started a Facebook group chat with everybody to get everything together. And I was actually very surprised and happy about that because it took a lot off of my plate to actually like get everybody together. But I was still like getting it going on. And it's just been a pleasure, really.
Definitely.
Yeah.
COVID just makes the word go around, I guess. Or
yeah.
Now
exactly.
makes the word go around, so.
Yep.
Let's see here. Anything you want to mention to the audience that we haven't mentioned before?
I've had some people ask me, like, well, what is this show about? And then I'll explain it to them. And I've always found the best way to explain it is I tell people, like, what it most closely resembles. And I found that this show actually most closely resembles a mix between Supernatural, the TV show, and The Walking Dead, the TV show, because there's, like I said, I've got it planned out to season 4. There's elements going on. There's elements later on in the seasons where, like I said, are similar to The Walking Dead, where we go to a certain area and there's actually a stronghold or a group of people who have their own place going on there. And we go in there and then there's actually someone that we needed help from there that we didn't know were there. And, we get all the help that we can, and then a bunch of things happen, and then we find out it's not really what we think it is, and, stuff like that. So, yeah, I always tell people it's, like, very similar to those two shows. I would say that's it. Like, something I really want people to understand what it is.
Okay, definitely. With this being audio drama, it sounds like you're going to go past season 15, unlike Supernatural, so hope that works out for you.
Yeah.
Where can people find you online?
The website is under construction right now, our personal website. But you can go to our supplier website at outoftheashes.buzzsprout.com. And we are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Out of the Ashes Podcast.
Very nice. This has been Audio Drama Interviews, and this was the episode with Vince.